Hello everyone, what's good, what's poppin'? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Caroline, and oh my gosh, I'm so excited for today's start to finish tutorial. Today we're going to be doing a quick weave install, and fun fact, this is my first quick weave install, and I know you can't tell because I really ate this up. It's giving professional, ain't it, right? And y'all know I am a glueless install queen, so I had to make this quick weave glueless as well. If you're looking for a long-term hairstyle similar to a sew-in but don't know how to sew or don't have the time for a full sew-in, then this is the perfect hairstyle for you. It's easy to install, easy to maintain, and it's easy on the edges, which is a win-win all around. I was nervous at first, trust me, with this being my first time, but I was able to figure it out and it ends up actually being quite easy. So don't worry guys, I will show you everything start to finish. As always, bleaching, plucking, install, as well as maintenance as well, because you know I can't leave you guys hanging. And so with that said, let's get right into today's video.
I mean, she, to be honest with you, man, she's a
bad things, fine as hell, thick as fuck. Oh my god, that's my baby, Caroline.
The company we're going to be working with today is Curlsqueen Hair Company. They sent me they sent me 3 bundles of their body wave hair in 20 and 18 inches. And they sent me a 5x5 20-inch HD lace closure. Right off the bat, as my thoughts of the hair, I do have to say this hair is very, very thick. At first, I was asking for 4 bundles because I'm a thick hair girl, and they told me that I only need 2. And they're trying to be generous by giving me 3. I didn't end up using that 3rd bundle. I only need 2 bundles for that full head of hair that y'all saw earlier. It is super thick. And the hair does have a bit of a texture, like a heavy texture to it. I wouldn't say like a yucky, kinky type of feeling, but it's not like a super silky straight, which I kind of like. I like a little bit more coarser hair in my opinion. But as far as the closure, my first impressions, the closure did come slightly pre-plucked, but not like enough for it to be doable in my opinion. But it does have really small knots in it, and it's a very wide 5x5 closure. I can't say I'm more impressed with the quality of the hair versus the quality of the hair on the closure, but I'm impressed with the construction of the closure, that makes sense. Like the knots are small, it looks very nice and intact, but the hair itself was a bit more frizzier than the hair that is in the actual bundles. I found the hair to be a bit drier than the actual bundle hair on the closure, but still I do really like how small and tiny these knots are. Like you don't even have to, honestly, if you're not someone who knows how to pluck, you could get away without plucking this hairline and do a little finessing and you'd be just fine. I feel like the knots are also small enough for you to probably get away with just having to tint the lace and not have to bleach the knots to give a more scalp effect. But you guys, you know me, I gotta give full scalp. So of course, first thing we had to do was bleach and pluck this closure. Starting off with the bleaching, to bleach the knots, I'm using my Cara Flash powder. This is my favorite, most effective bleaching powder. And I'm using about 1.5 scoop, mainly because I'm gonna be doing a frontal and the closure. For a closure, especially the small, you do not need that much, probably half a scoop. And I'm using 40 volume developer to mix in the solution. I'm using 40 volume developer because the knots of this wig is dark. If it was like a light brown color, then I would use less developer. But for my darker knots, I always like to use the highest option, which is 40 volume developer, to go ahead and really lift that color off the knots. The higher the developer number, the more effective or aggressively it's going to lift the knots. So whenever y'all ask me, should I use 30, 40, 20? I feel like if it's dark knots, try to stick around the 30 to 40 level, because anything less is not going to be effectively really lifting those dark knots, unless it's like specified by that bleach company that you should use a 25, 30 volume developer, because I definitely had some that specify only using nothing more than 25, you know? After you've thoroughly mixed in your developer, you want the bleaching solution to be kind of like this texture. It's creamy, it's spreadable, but it's not runny or drippy. Like you should be able to turn over your mixing brush. You're not getting any drippage. If it's too runny, it's going to start running and bleeding into the hairline. We just want it to sit on the knot, but you also don't want it too thick where it's just sitting at the bottom of the lace and it's not penetrating the top of those knots. This sounds like a lot, I know, and I'm trying to like make this not too detailed because I have a habit of just talking for hours. But if you're kind of confused and want more information, I have a super detailed bleaching tutorial where I talk for hours about all the ins and outs of getting a perfectly bleached knots on your lace. But back to the wig at hand. So now, not the wig, I'm so used to this being a wig, it's a closure. Back to the closure. Now I'm just going in with a popsicle stick and just trying my best to lightly apply enough pressure to get that bleach to hit the lace at the bottom and hit the knots at the top, which is why I use the popsicle stick to apply the bleach, because with a popsicle stick I can kind of like pretend I'm doing like I'm buttering my toast with a knife, so I can kind of like mimic the right amount of pressure that's needed to push in the bleach without pushing it too deep, because you don't want the bleach to run into the actual hair itself. It kind of helps me to hold the closure up this way, because since it's not like attached to like a wig like I'm used to, I was having a hard time applying enough pressure without pushing it too deep to over bleach the knots. You can really use anything to apply the bleach as long as it's not metal. So it can be glass, plastic, silicone, no metal, because metal is going to react with the bleaching solution. Anyways, I went ahead and just let the lace sit on this foil paper covered up for about 30-35 minutes. Mainly I go by the color, not by the time. So I always say set a 15-minute timer and keep checking on the knots every 15 minutes till it's the right color. This is the color. It was about like an orange yellowy shade in the knots. That was after 25 minutes. The knots of this wig did bleach really easily, but I think that's because the knots of it are super small, so it makes for easier bleaching. Here I'm just going in with some purple and blue shampoo mixed together in a mixing bowl and applying that to the lace to help just cancel out the undertone that you get when you are bleaching knots from black to blonde. It's very rare where you don't get any undertones, any orange or yellow color showing from bleaching the knots. So I always like to go in with a mixture of blue and purple shampoo, because blue and purple will help cancel out that yellow and orange undertone that you get when bleaching, because we want our scalp to be a nice neutral brown shade, not an orange, yellow, Donald Trump type of vibe. We want very nice and neutral. I let the shampoo toner sit onto the lace for another 10 minutes. I'm over here bleaching another wig at the same time. So after 10 minutes of letting it sit, I'm just going ahead and washing this out completely. I do go ahead off camera and let the hair sit in some conditioner, but that is basically it for our bleaching process. But first, what I want to do is I want to sew an elastic band onto the closure, so it's going to make sewing it or just gluing it down a lot easier. I still want to go for a glueless closure kind of look. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is sewing this elastic band down to help it like hold down the closure. It's gonna help a lot. I'm just gonna take like one of these like Velcro, you know, elastic band. Is an old one that I have. I'm gonna cut it in half. Okay. So I can still be able to attach it. Let me see, how much do I need for my head? Just a little bit extra, so I can fit my head right. I don't want it too tight, because it's gonna be like what I'm gonna be wearing on my head for a minute, and I can't have it like tight and stressing me out. Yeah, I think that's enough. And now I'm gonna sew each side onto the closure, but not like right in front. Like the closure starts up here, so I'm gonna put like a little bit of an inch off. I don't want it to like show right where the closure starts. Okay, boom. So now like when I install it, it's gonna like help it be more secure, like, because that's gonna like really, like, you know, you see, it's gonna really pull that that closure nice and flat onto my hand, because I'm gonna be rocking this. I want to rock this gluelessly. My only concern is, will I be able to glue the tracks onto this band? We will have to just find out and see. I feel like I should be able to. I'm scared. Trial and error. Good thing is I'm gluing it, because I can just take it off if it doesn't work. See, I'm just gonna go ahead and prep my middle part, because I can never get a straight middle part off my head, so I might as well get it nice and straight on here. And for my first time doing this, I just want to keep it nice and simple. I'm just trying to push all the roots up so I can see what the hairline is looking like before I pluck it. Honestly, it comes pretty much really nicely pre-plucked in the front, so I don't want to ruin any of that. So I'm just gonna part all of that out real quick. And of course, using our Revlon Diamond Slant Tip Tweezer. I don't want to pluck too much of this hairline because, like I said, it's already pretty well pre-plucked. It's just I want to thin it out some more in the back. Okay. I said I don't want to get too crazy now. If I need to do more, I will do more. Because like I said, I'm scared to ruin it. Less is always more. Same thing on this side. I even went ahead and plucked out the little hairs in the center so I can get me a nice and crispy middle part. I left some hairs, but these are little details that I will not be able to see when the wig is on me head. Let me chill out and not start doing too much. I kind of want to create like a bit of a widow's peak on here, just like the tiniest one. Like nothing too crazy now. Just something small. So I'm gonna push the hair upwards. It's way too much hair. Just a little bit. I don't want too much going on. Alright, I think this is pretty much good enough. I'm just gonna unhingedly pull these pieces out. You gotta make sure you pull it out from the roots. Like I always say, do not leave any little dots. It's gonna look funny. Just weird. Ooh. I gotta like not pull so aggressively. I like this closure a lot. Like the knots are nice and small, but you can see they don't come out that easily, which I like. So it means it's not gonna like shed too much on you. And boom, there's our little widow's peak. She's cute. She's cute. Okay. Wig prep. So I'm doing this on like really old cornrows because I feel like since I'm gonna get glue on my hair anyways, I'm gonna need a hair wash after this. So like, it's no point in me getting fresh new cornrows done, but I do want to prep my hair properly for this. First of all, let me push all these little BBs to the back of the room. Okay. Get her nice and smooth in the back too. I don't like my kitchen. It's like poking out of my wig since it's like all fuzzy and stuff. That's so annoying to me. It's got to be just to lock it all in. I feel like I should be able to get away with this without using any wig cap at all. I'm going to use, what's this? This protective shield thing. Basically like helps protect your hair from getting any glue on it. It's like basically like, it's a wig cap without being a wig cap. So I might do that and not have to put on a wig cap. Cause like my head just gets really hot and I'm not trying to have like a wig cap and this on, or it's not gonna be my head for this long. So I'm just gonna go ahead and paint this onto my head. Really get on those edges because I'm not trying to lose any edges in this experience. just brush this on. My first time ever doing this. So funny. I used to do like bond in, like I used to glue hair like into my hair, like how like you clip in extensions. I would glue the tracks on like in between my actual real hair back in the old days. And I wonder why I was low-key bald and had no edges, because I did not use this at all to protect anything. Okay, so I've decided to go ahead and put the cap, but slide it back just to kind of help give extra coverage. I mean, extra protection to the back of the hair. But I just want the wig slid back. I don't want it to like show under the closure. But since like my whole head naturally, because I always put my wigs on without any like bowl cap, so my head itself being dark doesn't concern me, because naturally my dark hair shows. Because I feel like pushing it back with a nude cap, it's definitely gonna show. Right now I'm just trying to like sew this cap on so it doesn't like slide off throughout the day. I mean throughout the week of this wear. Just want to keep everything sewed down. Okay. Tint the lace of this to get that exact shade match, tinting it using my Maybeline Fit Me shade 356. And I did make sure I let that mold dry down before I, proceeded, because you have to let it dry down. But I think I'm gonna put my little blow dryer cap over it some more a little bit, just to make sure it's fully dry. That's how it's gonna create its protective shield on your head. I went ahead and sat under the cap for about another good 30 minutes. I mean, under the hooded dryer, and let the liquid glue cap fully dry, because that's to make sure it's fully dry before you proceed to applying your tracks. So once it was fully dried, I went ahead and tied that elastic band on behind my head. And I wasn't sure if I wanted it to sit exactly here on my forehead, so I went ahead and just installed it first, like gluelessly installed it, so that way if it's sitting too far back I can shift it before I start laying the tracks. And of course be sure to cut off that thick white part the end part of the closure before you lay the lace down, because that part does not lay. I think it's just like an end closure to the closure. So I always cut that part off. And to lay down my lace, I'm using my Ebin lace spray to help get that glueless melt. Pretty standard procedure, kind of how I always do my glueless install. Just go ahead and spray the lace underneath and on top, and then I use my blow dryer with a rat tail comb combination to help just press and lock everything in. And I do like to use this on a warm heat, but like low power. I was pretty happy with where it was laying on my head. This is why I really want to do a glueless closure, because what if I glued this on and I didn't like how far back or how low it was? But now I can like easily shift it without having to worry about that. Now I can go ahead and lay the closure in place. I went ahead and chose to glue down the closure. I wasn't sure if I was going to sew it. I wanted to sew, but honestly, why make my life more difficult? I went ahead and just tried my best to get the glue right on the thick white outer corner of the lace, not on the hair, because if you get glue on the hair, it just makes it so much messier later on when you're trying to part the wig out. So I tried my best to like get it right there exactly. That's the only downside with using the glue. It does make the closure messy to clean later. Also be sure to pull the hair like as way away from the closure as possible. I had the hair tied back because I didn't want to get glue on the hair, and I still ended up getting glue, which ended up being a big issue later on when I was trying to get the wig flatter, because there was like a chunk of glue just sticking there. But just try your best to really avoid getting glue onto the closure if you choose to do this. If you can sew, then girl, go ahead and sew. It'll be a lot easier, honestly. Not easier, more like easier cleanup and more preservation of the closure afterwards. I think I need to do a better job of pushing the hair upwards, because I couldn't really see where the end of the closure was, and I was having a hard time making sure that I was pushing down the closure without pushing the hair into the glue. So here's me just trying to use a rat tail comb and trying to work my way and press the edge all around as much as possible to really get that closure nice and flat down. And then I go in with a blow dryer with a warm heat setting and just start pushing everything down to the best of my ability. Just for extra security, I went ahead and sewed the elastic band onto my braids and the wig cap just to make everything tied together as one, so it's not like one piece is gonna fall out. I don't know, I just wanted to feel like one Hulk secure foundation underneath. So I just went ahead and went around and just sewed some big loops to tie the band to the wig cap to my braids. Okay, now we're done with the most time consuming part in my opinion. Now we can get into the easiest part really, which is the actual quick weave, which is the gluing of the bundles in. I was sent 3 bundles, but I ended up only using 2 because man, this hair was thick. So at first I wanted to do the whole flipping over the bundle method where you don't cut the wefts, but I couldn't finesse it like that. So I just ended up measuring how much I needed from the bottom and then just cutting the hair. I feel like the application of the tracks is really self-explanatory. It's like a little art project really. I just go ahead and try to get the glue as much to the thick part of the band, not on the actual hair, the tracks themselves, and I just place it onto my head, kind of going from the bottom up. I'll try to find like a diagram to explain because I wish I could show you guys the back of my head. I do feel like now in hindsight it would have been better for me to go from literally close from the sides up, like let it like from the back start all the way up to where the closure is instead of starting from ear to ear. I'll try to put some visuals to explain what I mean. That way the hair kind of falls more towards your face since the closure starts a little bit further back. But this is all things I'm learning in hindsight from watching other people do their quick weaves and learning better techniques. But overall, I just literally went from ear to ear and worked my way from the back to the top. And I did glue the hair onto the elastic band. I wasn't sure it's gonna stick, but it did stick. But to make it stick, I really had to use my blow dryer and press it to get it to stick properly to elastic band. Another thing I did wish I knew in hindsight was the fact that I was getting glue onto the bottom tracks as I was placing the top ones. I should have used one of my like little, I have a 3-way mirror that lets you see the back of your head. I should have used one of those to help me make sure that I wasn't getting glue onto the hair because the back was all sticky and I had no idea until it was time for me to style it. So just be very aware of your placement of the tracks and the glue. Okay, update. We are literally only this is 1 bundle, y'all. 1 bundle in. It's crazy. I used to be a 4-bundle girly, but it's looking like I might just mess around and only use 2 bundles. Because let me show y'all how thick these bundles are. This is 2 bundles. They were not lying. They did tell me this hair was thick. This is how thick it is with 2. Literally 2 bundles all I needed for the second part of the hair, the second half. You see how now I'm going from the one side of the elastic band to the other side? This is what I wish I was doing from the bottom and not just waiting to get to the top part, because this way it would make all the hair fall really close to the closure, because some of the hair wasn't perfectly close to the closure. It just kind of made it a little bit like thinner in the front. So if you're doing this and you're watching this, what I would say is definitely go from the one side of the elastic band to the other side, even starting from the back. As I started getting closer to the finish line, I kept doing the same thing, just going in a U motion. Now I'm just trying my best to get my tracks to really follow along the line of the closure now without actually getting any glue on the actual closure itself. I also tried not to add way too many tracks or make it too close together on the top. Kind of want it to be bulky and have like a bump, but also don't make your gaps of your tracks too big or it's gonna be like obvious when the wind blows that you can see your wig cap underneath. Installation portion is complete. Now for the styling. Styling was a bit tedious too. That's just because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to my styling. My first thing here was trying to get this wig to be flat. For some reason, I just felt like it was giving bumpy. So I just went in and started trying my best to press the hair out, starting from like where the closure ends, and just start parting the hair section by section. Doing this method when it comes to hot combing is the way I can ensure I get the wig super flat. But you see right here, I'm struggling because I got some glue on the closure when I was gluing it down, and it's like really hard to get that hair to be pressed back. So I was really struggling my best to melt that glue to be able to properly press this hair back. But little did I know there was a whole lot of glue in the back of my head, and I was going to be struggling a lot. But yeah, to really get that flat look with your closure, take your time going in section by section and really pressing down that hot comb to get it to melt into the hair, for it to all just mix together and not look like there's a closure floating on top of your head. Even after my first pass, I felt like the wig still wasn't giving flat enough, so I had to go in with my OG Cara wax stick, one to help tame those flyaways and to help push the hairline down some more to give it more of a flatter look. And here I'm just trying to really perfect and clean up this middle part. I just felt like I was not feeling this install right after installing it. Like, it just wasn't looking right. But with some tweak, I realized one of the things I also made a mistake. Not made a mistake, but I wish I didn't do, was I put this wig right on my natural hairline, like where my hair really starts. Us big forehead girls, we know we like to put our wig a little bit lower than our forehead just to camouflage what we have going on. But I did not really like estimate how much the wig was going to shift a little bit while I was installing it. The wig does shift back when you're laying down the track, so I wish I had like put it just a little bit further, because now it was right on my natural hairline, and that was what was throwing me off. I feel like I was showing way too much forehead. So of course, to combat that, I had to add some baby hairs. I just like adding baby hairs to kind of help hide the fact that my forehead is all up in your face. To lay the baby hairs, I am using some EcoStyler gel, and that's really it. I haven't done baby hairs in a wig in like the past couple of installs, and I kind of missed them, especially this like classic middle part closure look. I feel like it's just like a perfect back to school, something I would do if I was going back to school type of look. Simple, classic, but still giving you that girl. I underestimated just how long this was going to take me. It was mainly the prep portion that took me a long time, because around this time of the clip, it was like 4 a.m. in the morning, and I was just so tired. So I ended up calling it a night at this point, wrapping it up and coming back the next day for the styling. Here I'm just adding some heat protectant. This is the Nairobi brand. It is a shine and a thermal heat protectant spray. I'm not a big fan of this spray, honestly. I feel like it kind of weighed the hair down more than I liked it. I'll probably try it when the hair is wet, but as dry, I'm not a fan of the product. It says it's good wet and dry, but I feel like it was too greasy to use dry, but it worked for the moment. You always gotta make sure you're just using some type of shine serum and heat protectant to help protect your hair and to give it some shine and frizz protection. After I've tried my best to brush the product through, I went ahead and used my scissors, not my scissors, but my face razor, my eyebrow razor, to kind of just help create some light layers, because I didn't want too heavy of a layer. I just wanted something light in the front, because the hair is all one length, and I wanted the front to kind of frame my face a bit, so I just kind of glided my razor, and I started off the shortest layer, starting right at my collarbone. I did make a little bit shorter layer towards the end, but for general understanding, I start the layers kind of like at my collarbone and work my way down. To curl my hair, I went ahead and used my flat iron, because I feel like the first way I learned how to curl my hair really well was with a flat iron. I've done curling iron with a thong, and I feel like my best curls are always when I use a 1-inch flat iron. This one specifically is from Remington, got it from Walmart. It's like $20. I will link it down below. And I have like a super detailed tutorial as well explaining how I get my curls using a flat iron, because I feel like this video is already getting extremely long, and some of y'all don't like when I talk too much. So I'm gonna just link that below as well if you wanna understand how to use your flat iron to curl your hair. But I'll just leave these clips to hope that maybe visually it'll make sense. But just to help a little bit, I did have all my curls going to the back of the room. So these curls are all going in one direction, just if you're trying to wonder what kind of curl style these are. As I finished my last curl, I just went ahead and ran my fingers through everything and kind of backcombed it to all mix in together. I want a very loose curl look. I don't like my curls being tight together. I like them very loose and wavy and just flow like a body wave basically. And here I'm just going in with my flat iron. I'm getting my words mixed up in this voiceover, and I refuse to redo this voiceover, so I'm just gonna keep rolling with it. I'm using my hot comb to help just like press the top of the hair to kind of flatten and shape it. I like the top of my hair to be flat and then the curls to start right around my eyebrow. So I always use my flat iron hot comb, Jesus Caroline, hot comb to help press everything nice and flat. Now I'm just going back. In the moment, I felt like this closure wasn't looking flat enough, but I realized I was just in my head about it, because now that I'm watching these clips back, this was flat, especially given my braids were not fresh or anything. It's really a shout out to that elastic band method that I showed you guys. I will say in hindsight though, do make room for like the wig sliding back after you installed it, because I installed the closure right on my forehead where it naturally is, but I realized after like I started putting the glue and putting the tracks on the band, it made the wig slide back just a little bit, which was making me feel like the hair wasn't looking right. But I realized that's just, the wig is just sitting at my natural real forehead, and I'm not used to seeing my forehead in my wig installed, so it was jarring at first, but that's just me not learning how to accept my real head. But yeah, do be mindful, it does slide a little bit, so when you install the closure, install it just a little bit more forward than where you would naturally. But that is basically all for this install. Like, I'm just so obsessed with this look, like, wow. And I love the style itself because it's just super easy to wear. Like, I wore this wig for about, I need to stop calling it a wig. I wore this install for about a week and a half without having to take it off. I like it a lot because the maintenance to keep it is very low. So let me go ahead and show you guys kind of how I maintained it throughout the week. So I would put an elastic band over my baby hairs to keep them laid down and protected. And then to kind of keep the curls and to save myself time and energy in the morning, I would just put 2 to 3 flexi rods on each side. Recently, I started using that Amazon headband curl, overnight curl thing, and that works just as well and is more faster than flexi rods. But just doing heatless curls so you can just wake up with your hair perfectly curled is the way to go. Look how bouncy these curls came out. Like, I only used 4 on each side. The top part always comes out a little funky because it has a bit of a layer to it, but the curls were so bouncy and springy, and they definitely did last all day. So this is basically my routine for how I reinstall this wig every morning, because it is glueless, so the closure itself is not glued down to my head. So in the morning after washing my face and showering, it does get some shifting, but y'all see just like how laid it's looking. This is with no product, just that elastic band holding it down, and it's looking pretty good for a glueless install. But whenever I want to go ahead and just get that lace to be melted properly, it's really simple. I just do a little spritz of that ebon spray, use my little hot comb, my little rat tail comb and blow dryer to lock it all in, and that's really it. Like, I love how minimal effort this is, but still gives you that high maintenance type of look. And to help fix those little wonky curls in the front, that's the only part I have to apply heat to in the morning. I just go in with my flat iron, my Remington 1-inch flat iron, and I just do some little flat iron curls to kind of just fix those parts that don't get properly wand curled, flexi rod curled. I'm getting my words tripped up in this voiceover. It's probably my excitement to show you guys what I've done. I feel like whenever I just do a really good install, I'm just always so excited to show you. It's like I'm showing you my project, and you know, okay, maybe you don't know. Okay, so this is a couple days. I did like a little flexi rod set on it, and I like this. This is so cute. Okay, no, I actually really overall like this whole glueless closure concept, like especially since it's glueless. I feel like it's so low maintenance, and like now I can wake up with my hair done. And as someone who doesn't like sleeping in their wig, it's not that hot. Like, I will be doing another glueless closure. Like, I will be doing this Quickweave again. But yeah, that is all I have for you guys. If you enjoyed this look, let me know. If you try it, let me know, and I'll see you guys another one. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And peace out, Girl Scouts. Goodbye. Oh my gosh, you stayed and stuck around for more, and just for that, I got a little treat for you. I'm gonna show you how I took off this quick weave, because honestly I was trying to figure out how to take it off myself, so I just wanted to leave this little clip of removal in case you're wondering how exactly do you remove this without losing your edges. Here you can see I already got that elastic band from the closure untied, and all I did really, since everything is glued to the elastic band and the wig cap and the liquid cap, my hair is safe, so I felt safe enough to literally just start yanking those tracks out. But mind you, this has been like a week and a half, so the tracks were already kind of loosening up around the showers and everything, but I just literally yanked out every track starting from the bottom to the top. But I could only do this because I had my edges and my real hair fully covered and protected. Don't yank it out if you know you didn't do the prep to protect your edges on your hair. Once I've yanked out every track leading up to the closure, I went ahead and at first I started yanking out the closure itself, and I realized, oh, the closure is so down to the wig cap, so I had to take a moment, pause, and go cut off all the little threads that had the closure and the elastic band, everything just so down to make it one unit. Just cut those threads to cut out the ties, and then proceed to ripping off the closure as well. Once you take everything off, you're left with the wig cap and the liquid cap, which is that white thing that's crusting on underneath. As far as how I removed the liquid cap and the wig cap itself and all the glue, all I did was just ran my head under water on my sink. I had it on hot water, and the cap and everything just started to melt off. Like the cap literally just melts off. It's a liquid cap. And I went ahead and just washed my hair like normal with shampoo, conditioner, took out my braids, and I can say safely and sound no edges were lost in the making of this quick weave.